I'm just going to talk about trying to be innovative and creative with word of mouth, which is the most effective thing for us. Go Ape is a high-wired adventure company, and for those of you who have no idea what it can possibly be, I hope this will give you some idea. So, we put people up into the trees, and I hope I don't move this across, and we put them in a harness, and we give you 40 minutes of instruction, and then, not directly supervised, you swing through the trees across a variety of rope bridges and zip wires and Tarzan swings for about 3 hours, hopefully getting rather disoriented in the forest. It wasn't meant to be a sensible idea. We started in 2002, getting rather frustrated with our sort of corporate climbing, early rising, frequent flying type existence, my wife and I, and we decided, well, what would our perfect life be like? And we realised we didn't want to be in the city, and we wanted to move to the country. We wanted to be at home at tea time and at breakfast, because that's when our children are around, and we realised we'd have to run our own business. So we worked from what would it look like, and then worked back to how we were going to get there. And we thought we want to work in the forest. And we were lucky enough on holiday to have an idea, or come across an idea, which we developed into Go Ape. And that was in 2002. We now have 22 courses across Britain. 1.6 million people have swung through the trees with us. We have an incredibly dedicated, loyal, and energetic, enthusiastic team of about 400 people now. It turned out, much to my surprise, having completely forgotten about VAT, so my back of the fag packet startup was 17.5% out before I even started, that it seems to be quite a reasonable business, generating 1.4 nearly out of 8.3 last year. And it was a lifestyle business, but we got the bug, and in 2006 we hit our first objectives. We always thought there would be a potential for 25 courses in the UK, but we got to 7. We thought, well, do we get too big? If we go any further, we will lose that family feel. And we realised, actually, that if we didn't push on, our best people would leave, because they wanted careers. We went on a sort of road trip in a sort of bus around the country with the children and asked our people, and said, no, I want a career in Go Ape. So we kicked on, and that was 2 years ago. And key to that was also taking our business to the business growth program at Cranfield School of Management, and that was a brilliant thing. Karen Billamori did it before Angus Thirlwell from Hotel Chocolat. It is a brilliant thing to do, very expensive, worth every penny, so have a look at that. And we sort of started with one course and then wanted to get a national footprint, because neither of us had any experience really in this before. I was a soldier originally and so I had an outdoor background, and I had a sort of reasonably unhappy time with General Electric and then Coca-Cola before that, which I quite liked because they allowed me to wear my army boots and sort of a bomber jacket that said always refreshing. But I slightly tamed with fizzy pop after a while, and we tried to grow quite quickly, and we had lots of cock-ups, nearly died through classic lack of cash forecasting and over-expansion. And as soon as we did that in year 2, I thought now's the time for a finance director. So nonetheless, get the best finance director you can afford as soon as you can afford it. And 1 day a week for a brilliant guy is much better than 5 days a week for somebody straight out of college. But then we got our act together, and on we cracked, and we're doing sort of 5 or 6 a year now, and we are in joint ventures in the US and Australia, and the plan is to have 80 worldwide by 2015, and then go back and farm with some other ideas and things we'd like to do in the forest elsewhere. But what we see ourselves is not about high ropes courses. We see ourselves as all being about creating adventures and encouraging people to live life more adventurously, which is why I'm here, because I hope you guys will do the same, because it's been an enormous adventure and it's really good fun. So everything we do, all our branding and marketing has to reflect that. So we don't do any sort of product alliances. We're not teamed up with a sportswear company at the moment, because we don't really see how that's creating adventures or encouraging people to live life adventurously at the moment. Until we're persuaded on that, we won't. So the marketing side now, as I said, what I want to do is try and show you how we, very cheaply, have tried to work on word of mouth. Now, 80% of our sales come from people like you sitting beside someone and say, oh, do you know what I did at the weekend? It was crazy. It shouldn't be allowed. It was an accident waiting to happen, but it was bloody good fun. Okay. Incidentally, how many people have heard of Go Ape in the room before reading the bump tonight? How many people have been to Go Ape? Well, that's terrific, because we've had 1.6 million. There's probably less than 20%, so there's lots of people. You're all exactly the right sort of demographic. Is that the right sort of word? So I'm pleased there's still plenty more to go. So what we want to do is turn our customers into ambassadors, because they can go out and say we're brilliant, which is much better than us trying to go out and say we're brilliant, because people might say, well, you would say that anyway, wouldn't you? So what we're keen to do is work on our product, which is, I think, something that you guys have said already. Wow them. So don't think about marketing. You can't, polish a... Actually, I won't say that expression. Wow them with what you do. Always strive for 2 steps better. And make sure you delight them. So not just when they're at site with you, but make sure the call centre, if you use a call centre, that they're the best. Make sure that they send their people to your course so they can talk with some passion, even if they have vertigo and don't want to go up. But they put on a harness and they go, oh, yeah. So it comes across, that passion comes across. Make sure that you're after customer care. The way you would deal with complaints is brilliant, and that you try and turn the people who complain into ambassadors and say, well, it was a bit rubbish the day I went, but in fact they did deal with it really well. And hopefully that will be the message they'll be spreading. And then build a relationship. And that's got to be based on wit and charm. And then try and get that word of mouth out through other new media avenues. And we've had really great fun doing this, and we don't pretend to be anything other than enthusiastic amateurs. But we've had some success. And if you do get that, and I think we're very happy to sort of basically say, we look at what Innocent Drinks do and Howie's, and that sort of charm and sort of, we've frankly copied a lot of their ideas, and John and Adam and Richard are very kind about it. But I think there's a book called The Brand Gap, and that's been great. You can read it in 2 hours, even if you read as slow as I do. And it's about innovation and validating and cultivating. And I'm going to see how we applied that to word of mouth. So, word of mouth, rather than just relying on people to talk to people in the street, we thought, how can we do that better? How can we try and sort of get into this viral thing? So we're lucky that we know who our customers are, because they have to sign a disclaimer saying, really sorry if you hurt yourself, but please don't come back to us. So we have their name and address, and we did that from the beginning, thinking, oh, that'd be useful for marketing. But it was a real bore typing it all in, so we never did. We had barns full of all these names and addresses. And then, about 2 years ago, we said, let's send out an email, because Innocent Drinks have just done this, so a sort of database. And we had 4,000 or 8,000 people, and we did it one April. And we said, hey, did you know we've got some new courses? And here's a funny film about somebody doing base jumping, and and 10% off to the new courses, or whatever it was. So there's some value, there's some interest, and there was also some sell to your customers, sell them more, because they're the people who are going to buy more. They already like you, hopefully. So that's the sort of business school-y thing, sell more to the people who already like you. And we got £27,000 worth of repeat bookings within a month, because we checked the emails and we sent it out to the emails we got back. We thought that's worth doing. We did 4 that year. And the last one we did, we suddenly thought, time to get typing in these email addresses. And the call centre, bless them, said, oh, we like nothing better than a bit of data entry. Keeps us happy. Happy fingers. And so we sent all these boxes off. And for 15 pence a time, we then, our 4th email, we got £178,000 worth from that within a month. So it's incredibly successful, something like 25% return on investment. It costs pennies to send out these emails, get a good company to do it, and it's brilliant. And so that's Gorilla Beat, and we continue to do that every 6 weeks. And it always has something which is, hopefully it's written with charm and wit. It's not abusive in terms of, if you do a boring one, they'll never open up again. So there's always got to be something which is imaginative, it's creative.